Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic: just because you did it. There's an old, if not odd, saying in the criminal defense community that goes a little something like this: just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Well, that's pretty cynical, huh? And probably right. And that terrible saying goes even farther and deeper into our human dismay than you're only guilty if you get caught. And what is the point of guilt or innocence when it doesn't mean anything in the overall realm of creating a safe society? If you can get away with murder by simply hiring the right attorney, who then helps you go free if you are guilty because you did it, but because there was no guilty verdict rendered against you in a court of law, well, that means you didn't do it, or you didn't do it enough to be punished, or you didn't do it enough because reasonable doubt? How does a society of people grow and trust a system of justice, a system of laws that's really just there to serve them, serve against them, and not against the wealthy and the powerful and the accountable? And now we have proof, evidence, that the law is not about morality or ethics or even doing the right thing. The law is actually and really and merely about loopholes and about getting off for things you actually did, but that cannot be proven against you. And sure, I'm familiar with the old and odd saying, virtual signaling in the form of platitudinal moral spinning of this: for it is better that 10 guilty men go free rather than one innocent man spend a day behind bars. Well, we know from direct evidence that little morality play is drama and false and a bunch of hooey. We know there are plenty of innocent people in prison doing time for crimes they did not commit. And we also know if they had more money and maybe a better lawyer, they would probably be free right now. Just because they did it doesn't mean. So where does that leave us as non-lawyers with access to tying down loopholes and the availability of axes grinding for the uncutting of Gordian knots? Are we just pawns waiting to be played in a sacrificial game of life? And what about us if we, well, not us, I guess, but people with a lot of money, if they can do things, bad things, illegal things, and not get punished for them because, for whatever reason, just because they did it doesn't mean, well, those guilty crimes cannot be proven against them in a court of law to determine them guilty as charged, then what is the point of having a system of laws that is arbitrarily enforced? And yes, my human meme friend, I know I'm not sharing anything new with you, or with people who grew up in non-rich communities. But still the question lingers: how does a democracy continue to stand with at least 2 systems of justice or injustice? We also know we cannot turn to religion for moral enforcement or even refinement. We know there are people still serving in some churches, serving under God's law, who have and who still are molesting children, among other crimes, both moral and of the flesh. So where is the justice in that? Or does justice just have no standing in the law when it comes to the competence of the institutionally protected molester? And then what are we to make of law schools, whose job it is to turn out people who know the law? Just because they did it doesn't mean... And then those law students graduate, move out of the realm of relative justice to actively work in the real world, where they have to sneak around the law, to exploit loopholes and make money and get their clients off for crimes they committed against society but cannot be proven against them. Oh, there is a harsh disconnect between the philosophy of training and the implementation of the ideal. And there is no higher power that will punish these guilty people. There is no higher court of consciousness that will bring these guilty people to heel. There is no grander scheme of living that can protect us from bad people exploiting bad laws. And so we are stuck here, helpless and mottled and mortified, looking for a safe space to land in a world of endless pits and barbs and spikes and swords and swirling whirlpools of tar. You are presumed guilty unless you have enough money to prove otherwise. And none of this helps our inverse morality. When our national leaders get away with lying and stealing and cheating and treason on our television shows every night, we all watch and wonder when they'll get theirs. And they never do, they never will, because the system is broken. Well, maybe not broken, the system works as it is expected to work. They get off, and the rest of us get punished for the same or lesser behavior. And our children are watching with us, watching this unfairness unfold. There are more tricks and cheats online than there are lessons in doing things the right and moral way. And the lesson is cheating is better because it's quicker. And tricking someone is better than working it out on your own. And we are left to be covered in more moral rot and decay as we are continually bathed in, yes, I did it, but you can't prove me guilty, isms. And we drown in that dreary desire. So yes, my human being friend, we are stuck with a system of government and laws and men and people that do not treat us equally and fairly. And that is a problem. If we want people to behave, to get along with each other, we need to punish all bad behavior. We can't let guilty people get away without being punished by the system. Because if the guilty remain free only because of their social status, then everyone else is going to burn. Burn and then turn against the system and fight that injustice with blood. Blood spilled in the effort to turn things right. Blood spilled in the woe of making things fair. Bloodlet to set the moral record straight, even at the cost of freedom for the guilty. And who are we to judge? Well, who better than us to judge? As a neighborhood, as a community, as a jury of peers. Because, in the end, it must be left up to us, and not the lawyers who try to morally game the system and manipulate our judges. It must be left up to us to be able to punish those who did it, because we are the ones who have to undo it. Justice served must never mean justice severed. And that, my human being friend, must mean only one thing. If you did it, you're guilty. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.